What up? What up? What up? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Bad Podcast, Brad and Dawain, man. And I know you guys see we got a different setup. We're in the studio, and we got a guest inside the studio, and Uncle Brad is still in Buffalo, unfortunately. And so if you see us look to this side, that's because we have a monitor up. And that's where we can see Brad. But Brad, man, we'll talk about the guest. We're going to act like he's not here for a second. What we talking about today, Brad?
Well, if I look over here, it's because I'm checking if it's snowing out because I am unfortunately in Buffalo, New York. Man, we're gonna talk about fear today. We're gonna talk about how to use fitness as a lifestyle versus just chasing goals and accolades. So I got a quote from the goat of all goats, the MJ, number 23, number
Yes,
45. Any fear is an illusion. You think something is standing in your way, but nothing is really there. What is there is an opportunity to do your best and gain some success.
I never know Michael Jordan to talk that much, but
I know, right?
let's go.
Hey, good job, guys. Good job. Mental battles. Mental battles.
Hey, man, eat some man for life, baby. What it look like, what it be like, what it do, man. Super excited to be back in here with the Bad Podcast, man, and a guest and my brother Brad, like we always do, man. But we always got to start the show, man, by thanking you guys for tuning in, man. YouTube comments blew up again. Of course, Brad, because we gave something away, so they really was like, "Oh, we about to." You never know, man. You never know. We might pull somebody random to get them some bad gear, man. So big shout out to y'all. And I always got to make sure you know that this podcast is sponsored by E2M Premium. So make sure you sign up for E2M Premium. It is a premium service. We're in the studio right now where we record those exercises as 15-minute exercises. Even if you're not a part of E2M and you're looking for 15-minute hardcore exercises you can knock out and really see results right away, E2M Premium is the way to go. So B, man, let's jump into this, man. I'm gonna let you introduce this guest. I know the guy, but like you invited him on, so you know, let me let you introduce him.
Hey, first of all, shout out to Shyla. Shyla reached out. We're gonna get her gifts from
Nice.
last week's episode, but she was the only one. So if you were the one of the other two winners, man, get a hold of me.
Yeah, I think Miss Kathy, she messaged me, said that she was going to email you, so you should have that as well. So I was like, she was like that was me. I was like, oh, I didn't know your name was Catherine, so I got it. My bad.
Hey, we're all learning here, right? We're all learning. But hey, man, we have, speaking of premium, we have a premium fitness coach here, Jeff. And Jeff, I'm going to let you kind of take the show away a little bit and introduce yourself, man.
Hey. So Jeff Tsang, I'm an OCB Pro Bodybuilder. I won that title last year. Been bodybuilding for about 3 years, but fitness has been a part of my life, and I'll go into that in a little bit. Since I was maybe 10, 11 years old, since I first saw, Sylvester Stallone in Rocky 3 on the big screen, saw his physique and thought to myself, that's what I wanted to be. And so I went home that day, after my mom took me to see that movie, and I started doing push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, and never stopped since that point.
Wow.
But for the rest of my life, I worked out, went to the gym. Only in the past 3 years did I think to myself, you know what, I wanted to do bodybuilding, get on stage, see how far I could push my physique. And it took me a little while to compete and get to the point where I was pro worthy. But last year I was able to do that. And then, I started doing some of the workouts here for E2M Premium. And be honest, a lot of 95% of what bodybuilders do to get into that great shape and get to that leanness is what E2M offers and does for his clients. So I love it.
That's awesome. Listen, so we do pay him to be a model, but we didn't pay him to say that. So just so y'all know, that was not scripted for sure.
I think we can all relate to the Rocky thing, because I think anytime Rocky 3, if Rocky 3 or Rocky 4 comes on, I will go outside and I will start doing laps around my house. I'll start doing jumping jacks and push-ups and all those things, man.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me do the eyeball though. So it wasn't Rocky for me. It was Rambo.
Yeah.
Hey, yep,
But I
yep,
didn't
yep.
want to work out. I wanted to like cut some stuff and shoot some stuff. So Sylvester Stallone, he had an impact on me as well, but it wasn't for fitness. It was I wanted to be dangerous because of Rambo.
you know, when you know we're talking about Rocky, and you know we're going to talk about fears today a little bit and how they are illusions. But I have you know this rumbling in my head right now of Rocky 3. Okay, so in all of the Rocky series, he was only really like on top of the world and felt on top of the world in Rocky 3 when he defeated Apollo. He was on top of the boxing world, and he kind of got content, right? That was his greatest downfall, when he was content. But in all the other Rockies, he had to face some kind of adversity. He had to overcome something. And in the second half of Rocky 3, what do you have to do? He had to overcome that adversity of getting the smackdown by Mr. T, Mr. 16 chains, you know, and he had to overcome. And that's what fitness is taking the fears that you have, taking the limits that you have, and telling yourself, these are nothing but illusions. These are nothing but obstacles. So Jeff and Dawain, how do you guys use obstacles, fear, limits? How do you use that to your advantage versus using that as something that holds you back?
You know, I use it all the time. It's actually my main motivation, right? As I set goals for myself. You know, I set goals that are hard to obtain, and I use fear. I use fear of failure. You know, and I use that to push me along. So whenever I feel down, and I think to myself, you know, well, this is really hard. Maybe I should stop. Maybe I should give this up, or maybe I should slow down, or not push as hard. I think to myself, you know, as a bodybuilder, I'm going to get on stage. I'm going to get on stage in front of, you know, maybe, you know, a few hundred people in shorts, in a brief. And that fear motivates me to push harder and get to where I want to be. But, you know, honestly, it's fear and passion and love, right? It's not just fear itself. I love this, you know, since I was, like I said, 10, 11 years old. I just love, you know, getting that energy from working out. And it's not just working out, it's running, you know, running as well. I love running equally.
Hey, join the Eager to Run Club.
Yeah, it's free, man. Join the Eager to Run Club. It's a free club on Facebook. I need to see you in there today. Anyway, so so for me, man, fear is tricky for me because, you know, B, we had this conversation before, man. Like I'm super like confident, like I'm super like you know, even with this whole journey with bodybuilder, you know, first thing Jeff asks is like, how's it going? It's like, I don't know. Like I'm so like, you know, whatever I'm in, that's where I'm at, man. And so fear is minimal to me. It is, I don't really like give it a label, and it may come from some of my background, you know, my dad, you know, with the whole like, you know, man's man, like don't be afraid of nothing, nobody. And so I really don't label fear in anything that motivates me, which is a different answer, and that's why I'm here. I'm the different answer guy. But yeah, no, I really tend not to be afraid of much, you know. You know, and I guess my wife would say maybe fear of disappointment.
That's big. That's big though.
Yeah, fear of disappointment. That may be one, but I don't know, man. Like I turn fear into fuel so fast, you know, I don't even label it that, man. So that's just me.
I like that.
Yeah, let's look at it from a different angle though. We all have limits, right? And at one point you had a limit, and your limit was to put on that trash bag. Do the flutter kicks for 60 seconds, and that was your limit. And we talked about establishing that limit time and time again, and to extinguish that limit and to establish a new limit. Which, man, you're crashing through the ceiling right now. You're shattering all those old limits. You're establishing new limits every day, and those new limits are established through repetition. from dousing through that fear. You're talking about fear, and you don't have any right now. You have a fear of failure, but I think having that fear of failure is important because it's that uncertainty piece. Right. We don't know what tomorrow will bring. We don't know if we'll be here tomorrow. We don't know if we'll get on stage. We don't know if we'll get to that start line. We don't know. And that's the greatest aspect of life, is the uncertainty in life. It's because if I don't take action today, the only thing that's a great certainty is if I don't take action, I ain't getting anything.
That's true.
I get nothing if I don't take action. But if I do take action, I start to eliminate some of those fears. I start to douse some of those old limits, and I start to establish new ones. And it's hard for me to talk about this topic without talking about my sprint triathlon. So I don't know if you know this, Jeff, but I am an Iron Man, retired. I checked the box in the bucket list.
Semi-retired.
Semi-retired. So leading up to my Ironman, we had 3 months prior to my Ironman, I did a sprint triathlon. Okay. And a lot of people that are OGs or longtime faithfuls to the Bad podcast know this story. And I'm going to beat a dead horse here because I'm going to say it again. I did a sprint triathlon. It was a 1 mile swim. It was a 26-mile bike ride. It was a 6-mile run. I looked at this and I went in ill-prepared because I thought, man, this is going to be nothing. I've been training in the pool. I've been on the indoor bike. I've been running on a treadmill. This is going to be nothing. I had 1 protein bar. I had 1 Gatorade. I had 1 water, ill-prepared. And I went to this event. It was 50 degrees. They told me because the water was 60 degrees that it would feel like a hot tub. I was one out of all the participants. I was one that didn't have a wetsuit. I was the only one. I got in that water. I will tell you, it did not feel like a hot tub. It was colder than I'd anticipated. It was colder than I expected. I had some cheap goggles, 50 feet into the water. We had white caps. Wave hit me in the face. Goggles shifted. I put them on the top of my head. They fell off, went to the bottom of the lake. I thought I was going to be on the bottom of the lake. Here's where fear set in for me. You have 2 choices when fear sets in sometimes. When you're in the middle of a lake, you can let fear paralyze you, or you can let fear fuel you, just like Dawain said. I didn't have a choice. I was scared for my life, man. I was scared that I would sink to the bottom of that lake. And if I stopped, I would have sunk to the bottom of that lake. Now, maybe somebody with a long oar maybe give me the old Titanic Jack situation and gave me something to grab onto, but maybe not. I didn't have a choice to quit in that moment. So what I had to do, I had to use that fear to fuel me and propel me into the beaches, man. And I'll tell you what, that was one of the hardest days of my life. But that was the reason that today I can call myself an Ironman, because if I didn't experience that failure, if I didn't experience that setback, I'm telling you right now, I would have never reached the finish line at my Ironman. That's how I use fear to propel me.
Yeah. So speaking of that, man, because Jeff, you talked about, competing for a while till you got to the point, man. Talk about like those steps, like going to those shows and failing, until you're able to become a pro, man. Talk about that process.
So bodybuilding for me, when I first started, was just like you said, like check the box, right? And so when I did my first competition, I said, let's just do this once and then put it away. But the bug bit me. I got addicted.
I'm gonna make sure I wear bug spray in March. Go ahead. Keep going.
And the fellow competitors told me that backstage. I said, "This is your first time. Well, you're gonna want to do plenty more after this," and they were right. I was really disappointed in the way that I finished during that competition. My story is for competing is I came in dead last. I beat nobody, and you know what? That's fine. In bodybuilding, it's not so much about winning every competition that you do. It's about presenting the best physique that you can when you step on stage.
Question for you before you move on.
Yeah. Here we
when
go.
you came in dead last, did you feel like you was presenting the best version of yourself
at that time? Yes.
Okay. All right.
But the pictures came back and I looked at it and I said, I can do better. And I signed up for the next show. The second show I did, I finished dead last again. It didn't stop me. Signed up for that third show. and slowly started, moving up the ranks. Won my master's pro card. So I'm 50 years old. So I got my master's pro card first.
Cap. I'm just kidding.
You know how to slip that in there, right? I always have to slip that in the conversation.
He's 50.
But yeah, I just never gave up. This wasn't my first goal, but soon as the more I competed, it became a goal for me, is to get my open pro card. Now that I have it, you reset, you make new goals.
Right. Wow. Yeah. Because that kind of reminds me of Brad's story about experiencing that failure, and then not letting that stop you.
Right.
And that goes right along with what we're talking about, man. So I just wanted to bring that out. So here's my question for Jeff, man, is how did you get into pole vaulting? Like that like we're not, me, Brad, I'm gonna ask the questions, man.
I love this question. I didn't know you're a pole vaulter. I want to hear all about it.
Yeah. It's Jumping Jeff is his Instagram.
I didn't put two and two together.
Jeff Jumps and Pumps. Jeff Jumps and Pumps on Instagram.
Jumps and Pumps. We're gonna put that in the notes so they can follow you.
So this goes back to running.
Wait a minute, that Rocky didn't inspire you to
no, Rocky did not. He did not. Unfortunately, he did not.
Okay, all right.
So when I started really getting to fitness, when I was younger, I looked at Rocky, but my dad was a runner. He was, back in the day, he was one of the first real devoted runners. Prior to, I guess, the big running craze. He did New York City Marathon like 6 or 7 times, and he was very good at it. So in high school, I joined the track team thinking genetically I would have the same ability that my dad did, and that is not true. So I joined cross country, and my first cross country meet, I barely finished, and we're talking, this is a mile and a half.
Dead last again? I was kidding.
Oh yeah, it was very close to dead last. It was very, very close. But I stayed on the track team. I knew distance was not my thing. I was a sprinter. I had the body of upper body strength to also do pole vaulting. So one day they took all the sprinters, they put them in the gym, and he said, all right, here's a pole. See how you do with this. And I was one of the people who did very well at it.
Okay.
And so I became a pole vaulter.
All right.
But that did not get me out of track workouts. I was still on the track team. So I had to do a lot of the same workouts that runners did. And so running has always been a part of my life because of that. But pole vaulting is where I found a passion. So bodybuilding is one of my passions. Pole vaulting is my other.
Yeah. So that day when they took all the sprinters into the gym with that pole vault, I'd have been like, yeah, no thanks.
I have a fear of heights. I'm out.
Right, bro. I don't like no long sticks, man. I'm good.
When you talk about fear, that's pole vaulting is a different animal.
I believe it.
So if things go just slightly wrong, you can really injure yourself. So you have to, every time you stand on that runner with that pole and you look down towards the end of that runway, you have to block out that fear.
That's too much like skydiving to me, man.
It is. It's just like an extreme sport. It really is. And so I've gotten injured, I've gotten hurt, but still always get back to that runway and pick up that pole. So
yeah, I like exactly what you're talking about right now, and talking about getting back to the runway. When you finish dead last, that's sort of like hitting rock bottom, and a lot of our client base can't relate to what we're talking about. In regards of getting on the stage, doing an Ironman, skydive, like all these extremes, right? But we all can relate to hitting rock bottom, or being down, or failing, or all those things. And when you hit rock bottom, we know that there's really only one way up. right? You can roll one way and that's up. You can let yourself settle. You can let yourself stay right there on rock bottom, or you can start climbing. And a lot of our client base, they are attempting to make that climb today. You know, for years, months or years, they've been circling the base of the mountain, looking up, saying, man, I wish. And someday my time's going to come where I can climb to the top of that mountain. And they've circled and circled and circled. Well, now they're finally taking those initial steps. And the first ones are exciting because, man, this is something new. It's a physique show. It's an Ironman. You know, it's something exciting. The second step, the third step, the 10th, 15th, 100th, 200th, they get harder and harder and harder and harder. The further that we go up that mountain, the harder it gets. And the day that we stop, the day that we turn around, that's when we start to lose momentum. But man, oh man, when we get to the top, baby, oh, does it feel oh so sweet. But then we realize when we get to the top,
it's more wood.
That ain't, yes, sir. That ain't the top, baby. That's the beginning.
Brad loved to just kill your celebration, you know. You get to the top, you just started.
Boom. Yeah.
You make it to the Emerald City, more wood.
Emerald City. I talked about Emerald City today.
Oh man, no, so good, man. It's really good. So Jeff, man, I usually leave it to Brad, man, to kind of close us out, and I'm gonna still let him do that because you know that's what he do. But anything you want to say, man, as we get ready to transition and exit, because we do have another part. I almost forgot this, Brad. We do have another part of the show. So anything you want to say before we get to that part for the clients?
Just for all the folks out there who are starting their journey, you got to start someplace, and really, I know it's cliche to say, trust in the process. And there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of pain that goes along with that. But if just trust that once you get past that, there is that moment, those moments. I won't say a moment, but there's going to be plenty of moments where you're going to feel like you're on top of the mountain, and those feelings you never forget. You know, you hold on to those feelings, and they propel you forward. And I've been doing that all my life in pole vaulting, in running, in bodybuilding. And it's become a thing to me where it's almost an addiction to get that feeling. And I love it. I love it. You will learn to love it as well. Just trust in the process and you will get there.
Sounds good, man. All right, B, what you got before we transition?
Fall in love, man. Fall in love. You know, we're talking about the less than 1%, but anybody that's willing to take action, you are the 1% of the world, because 99% of the world can't or won't do what you're doing. So, hey, my hat's off. My headband is off to you for taking action, man. Take action today.
That's right. Take action. All right, Jeff. So this is part of the show, man. We call a Did You Know or Do You Know fun fact about our guests. This is something that's not on your social media that nobody wouldn't know automatically. You know, it's off the streets or whatever. I'm gonna play a short clip. It's a really short clip, so I'm gonna give you time to think about it. But just remember, the clip is short. So here you go. I'm gonna give you a moment.
Do you know?
Clip's over, man. You got one for us?
About myself?
Yes.
I am a huge comic book geek.
I think I would have knew that, though. I was
So,
all right, talk about it, man. Talk about it.
Yeah. So around the same age when I saw Rocky 3, I got into comic books. So something about that age, I guess, stuck with me. You know, I was really impressionable at that time, and I started collecting comic books. I have about, I would say, 10 to 15,000 comic books.
Wow.
In a storage unit. I still collect to this day. I read them all.
Wow. So are you?
It's my thing.
So are you a DC or a Marvel guy?
I'm a Marvel guy, but you know, my collection
is eclectic.
It's everything.
Yeah. So what about? Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not into them like that, but I know a little something. Don't judge me. What about Walking Dead? Did you get into those series?
I did. Yep. And so I've got that series as well. Those comic books.
My God.
Yep.
I love it.
If you ever come to my house, you'll see I've got workout equipment and then I've got comic books.
That's a combo.
Yep. That's my third passion.
Okay.
Yep.
So it should be Jeff Jumps, Pumps, and Comic Books.
Oh yeah, I got a separate Instagram for comic
Oh,
books.
look, see, look.
I won't tell anybody about that one. That's a separate.
I'm gonna go searching now, baby.
Right. Got a separate IG for it. No, man. So, hey, listen, Jeff, we appreciate you coming, man, to the studio, man. This is our first
Thank you.
in studio bad podcast having a guest, man. So we're super excited about that. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
And always hat off to my big brother Brad, always holding it down in the Buffalo. Keep the snow up there, brother. Keep it up there. But to everybody else, man, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure that if you're a new G, man, if you're new to E2M right now, and this podcast encouraged you, this podcast gave you an uplift, leave a comment on our YouTube channel. Take a screenshot of your player, post it in your stories, tag us. I promise if you tag us, we don't see a lot, but we see those tags. When it comes to the bad podcast, we come running. So tag us, let people know in the group that you're watching this podcast, that you enjoy it. And man, till next time, man, we are out of here.
Yeah.